Hello friends, this is Gerry from the very distant future, and you are watching a re-upload of a video for a product that doesn't exist anymore. So this is really just for archival purposes. I wanted to get into a little bit of my experience with this plugin and my real feelings about everything, but if you're not interested in that, you can skip to this time code and it'll take you straight to the demo. So back when Toneforge Misha Mansoor was coming out, it was naturally a big deal. It was Misha collabing with Joey, and it was, there was obviously a lot of hype behind it, and they were trying to build up a lot of hype behind it. So on their Facebook, they posted about the plugin and that they were looking for people who do gear demos to demo the product. Now, I couldn't find this post. I think this post is now taken down, but naturally I was interested. I was still very much in the early phases of my gear journey, and naturally this was something that I was way excited about and I wanted to jump at immediately. So naturally, I emailed them that I was interested in doing a demo for Toneforge Misha Mansoor, and then I got an email back from Ryan Bruce, who you may know as Fluff from Riffs, Beards, and Gear, who at the time was the head of artist relations for JST. And it was this whole campaign where it was going to be a bunch of demoers, and they were going to release the demos by batches. So like there was going to be like a November batch and a December batch, and they were just going to release a bunch of demos, and they were going to put like money behind it and everything. So yeah, it was really cool. And in part of the instructions, that I'll put the email up on the screen, was that it wasn't a review. It was a demo. It was, we're showcasing the plugin. We're not really kind of showing our feelings. And kind of a big part of that too was they were also plugging in JST VIP, which I don't even know if JST VIP is still a thing. It was a service that I had signed up for at the time because I wanted to, showcase it and show the plugin love because I was so grateful for this opportunity. So yeah, so fast forward, I did the demo. And I was like, okay, like I have my demo and it's ready to go. When can I release it? When can I unlist the video and make it public to my channel? Then I got an email back saying that I guess like the amount of people that actually did a demo for Toneforge Misha Mansoor was very underwhelming, I guess. So they kind of canceled the whole campaign without really letting me know or anyone else know. I mean, truthfully, I don't know, because looking back at this old demo, like this is clearly not my best work. And so maybe that was just them, letting me down nicely. I don't know. This is just scenarios I'm creating in my head. If you want a much, much, much better mixed version of the song, I suggest you check out this video. And to put it just truthfully, like I'm not trying to bash JST or the plugin. I use a lot of JST stuff still in a lot of my mixing, but the plugin was just very underwhelming. They had released like a standard version and an advanced version, and the advanced version was locked behind that JST VIP paywall that I was talking about. I had a whole section talking about that in the original video, which I chopped out in the re-upload. But if you wanted to watch the unedited original version, there's a link in the description. And reiterating, this isn't my best mixing work. So yes, a lot of it probably is me. But yeah, like a lot of the tones, like I would use, I just went for the presets because I was like, oh, dang, I'm having a hard time kind of dialing in a great sound. So I'm just going to use the presets that they offer, because if that's, supposedly JST and Misha signing off on those presets, then those should be good. And it's just funny, like looking back now, because today we have all of the neural stuff, and like, it just shows how kind of obsolete like the old Toneforge stuff was. Again, not trying to bash, just being honest. But yeah, that was honestly my experience with it. And because I was so excited and was really trying to leg up in like my demo game and my demo world, I look back on this video and I'm just kind of like overly positive on a product that I wasn't particularly stoked on. And really, that's part of the reason why I kind of stopped doing so many gear demos, because if it came to this point where I'm on screen and I'm being inauthentic, that's like the last thing I want to do. They did update it after the fact. I know they added ML Sound Labs cabinet IRs, and I heard that made a big difference. But now this plugin is just nowhere to be found. It's not on their website, and people have asked about it on Reddit, I saw. So maybe much in the same vein where I really don't feel comfortable promoting a product I don't believe in, I can only assume maybe Misha felt the same way. But again, that's just speculation. It's not like I pulled a quote of him saying something like that. That's just the only thing I can think of as to why this product just doesn't exist anymore. So yeah, like I said, this video is just for archival purposes. I'm not really a fan of the mix. I'm not really a fan of my mannerisms. I'm not really a fan of the plugin. I don't know why I'm re-uploading it. But thank you for continuing to support, and I hope you enjoy the video.
Hi, my name is Gerry, and today I'm going to be looking at Toneforge Misha Mansoor.
by Joey Sturgis Tones. Toneforge Misha Mansoor is an all-in-one plugin encompassing a full-fledged 3-channel guitar amplifier along with effects, cabinet IRs, and the ability to tweak just about any parameter of your signal path. If you clicked on this video, I'm betting you already know who Misha is, but in case you've been living under a rock, let me give you the rundown. Misha Mansoor is one of the guitarists of Periphery, and when it comes to guitar tone, the guy really knows his stuff. And thankfully for us, he's teamed up with Joey Sturgis to give us the ultimate guitar amp plugin. Now, there is a ton to go over about this plugin, but before we get into the details and how you can get custom presets designed by Misha himself, and how you can get even more customizability with the advanced version of this plugin, let's see how this bad boy sounds like in a mix.
Now that we've heard it in a mix, let's jump into Pro Tools and let's see all of the ins and outs of the plugin. So here's what you first see when you open up Toneforge Misha Mansoor, and right away it's very reminiscent of Misha's signature PV Invective amplifier, at least to my eyes. At the top, you can select between the 3 different channels, clean, crunch, and lead. And right below that is something really cool. It's called the infinity gain knob. And essentially, it gives you a way of manipulating the sound of the preamp's gain structure. So as you keep moving the dial up, it'll increase the gain. But once you move past this section, like this, it'll give you a different sounding preamp gain with 3 sections per cycle and a total of 4 cycles overall, indicated by this Roman numeral down here in the corner. Let's see if I can get it to 2. Yep. 2, 3, and 4. This allows you to get a wide array of sounds just from turning this one knob. Very cool. Here's your EQ section that guitarists will be familiar with. The frequency response of the EQ changes slightly depending on the cycle and section that the gain knob is currently on. So keep that in mind while EQing. The tight knob controls the tightness of the tone, and it does that by using a multiband compressor that's unique to this plugin. So if you want to be tight like a tiger, then crank this knob. Sorry for my terrible Goldmember impression. Saturation will saturate your guitar signal before it hits the amp, and Per adds a very welcoming sounding sizzle to your palm mutes by increasing the dynamic range of the low end. Here's the presence knob that'll affect the high end of the power amp section, and the range knob affects where in the frequency spectrum your presence lies. Channel volume, self-explanatory. Harmonics will add, well, harmonics to your signal after the amp, and the compressor will compress your signal before it hits the amp. At the top left, you'll see your gate where you can cut down on any unwanted noise. Underneath that is your input level control going into the amp, and to the right is your overall output control, and above that is a tuner, which is really handy. Now, if you look at the bottom there, you'll see that you can tab through different pages, and this works in a linear fashion. So your guitar signal goes through the first tab, and then the next one, and then so on and so forth. And if you double click any of these paths, it'll bypass it completely. On the first tab, we have a 1-to-1 recreation of the Precision Drive by Horizon Devices, even down to the look of the pedal. Now, I love this overdrive, so having it here in all of its digital glory is a nice touch. The next tab is, of course, the actual amplifier, which we already looked at, and the tab after that houses all of the cabinets. By default, it loads up the JST matched cab, which is the cab that offers Misha's exact tone. But if you want a different kind of flavor to your cab sound, it also comes with a Zilla 2x12, a Pine PV 4x12, a PV stack, and the classic JST 412, all with the option of miking them up with a 57, a 421, a Royer 121, and a condenser microphone. But if that's not enough customizability for you, you can also load in your own impulse responses, and if you load up the folder that houses all of your IRs, you can just tab through them by clicking on the left and right arrows. So you have tons of options with just the cabs alone. Next up, we have the effects tab, and JST really knocked it out of the park with these effects. Here, you get a very lush sounding delay, chorus, and reverb. Lots of options here too, with the ability to run the delay and reverb in mono or stereo, depth, modulation, pre and post of the amp, the whole works. I just love the look and the design of these guys. They actually sound so good that JST could release these effects as their own plugin, and I'd totally get it. So now that you have your tone dialed in, maybe you want to add a bit more presence, or maybe you want some low end. Well, in this next tab, you have a full-fledged parametric EQ, allowing you to further shape your tone that covers a lot of the frequency spectrum. Very handy having it here instead of inserting another EQ plugin after the fact. And finally, the last thing in your chain is a compressor, which is really great for tightening up your tone. I find it very useful for clamping down on ambient clean parts with dynamic delays, and even bass tones sound good with this thing on. So now that we've covered just about every aspect of this plugin, let's go ahead and mess with some of the controls. I have the song you just heard loaded up, and I'm going to mess with one of the rhythm guitars. By default, I use the bulb tight rhythm preset because I thought it sounded really good. But let's see what other kinds of sounds we can get out of it. Okay, let's go ahead and load up that bulb tight rhythm preset. And let's listen to it with the plugin bypassed. And here it is with the plugin engaged. So yeah, there is a ton that you can do. So let's go ahead and see what I got going on for the other guitars and the bass guitar too. So for the bass, I duplicated the DI and I'm using the exact same tone for both tracks. But the bass 30 track has the precision drive engaged for some grit, and I'm using a little bit of that in the mix. I also opted to use an impulse response of an MPEG cab, and I think it sounds pretty great. So here's what the bass clean track sounds like with the plugin bypassed. Now with the plugin engaged. Here's the bass 30 track. And now together. So for the bridge of the song where the solo kicks in, I made a crunch tone that uses the JST matched cab and with the precision drive off. Cool, so let's see what I've got going on for the lead guitars. Pretty similar to the bulb tight rhythm preset, but with a bit more gain, slightly different EQ, delay and reverb, and I'm using the compressor at the end to tighten it up a bit. And finally, although I didn't track any clean parts for this song, I brought in a DI of a clean part from a different song so we can mess with some clean tones. Lots of compression, delay and reverb, and some parametric EQ for good measure. Again, bypassed. And engaged. So yeah, this plugin is perfect for the guitar player who loves to tweak to their heart's content, but for those of you who want even more, there's more. There's also an advanced version of Toneforge Misha Mansoor that allows you to access the back of the amp and change other various types of parameters such as the type of preamp tubes, topology, type of power amp tubes, and even the transformer of the amp itself. So let's quickly see what that sounds like. Thank you for checking out my demo of Toneforge Misha Mansoor, and a huge thank you to Joey, Fluff, and the rest of the guys for letting me check out this plugin. I absolutely love it. For more guitar videos like this one, head over to my channel, hit subscribe, and I will see you next time.